Oi. Ah. Ah. It's been quite a while. I'm back at the studio again, and I have some project this weekend to knit a ugly Christmas sweater for dance shift man of Coding Train. So I thought to vlog and then make another studio vlog. First, I need to clean. So you might find this kind of disgusting, and if so, I'm sorry. But my studio is kind of like made up floor on a woodworking studio that is neighboring with circus practice studio, I think, which I am sharing a same space divided by the wall with my husband's recording studio. So it's an industrial building. You can see all of these fixtures, industrial building on the floor, and they just put a nice white board and floor to it. That results me to, if you leave the studio for like 3 months, oh my god, totally spider net. It's all clean. I changed the layout a bit. Excuse the noise we're doing laser cutting next door. So we have spinning wheel, knitting machine, bits and pieces of fiber, equipment, hanger rack, and then I moved desk here, and then it's all stash wall, even though I have probably twice as much as this at home. Right, so now I'm going to design Dan's sweater. So I am basing the dance sweater based on this men's knit pattern book that I have. Here is a very simple, like a Ganzi sweater, but the Japanese knitting book comes with schematics. So without showing much of this book, I'm taking the schematics and then adapting that to my knitting machine. So I check the swatch, put the gauge, and then I think tonight I'm just gonna make sleeves and the back, and then deal with the like a color work design tomorrow. But I just made a simple instruction, it's kind of like code, to take a note of what I'm going to do to make this sleeve. 2 of them. Right, let's do it on knitting machine. Okay, it's, I don't know, 5 or so hours later. I have 2 sleeves. I know it just looks like, I don't know, like knitting sausage, but it's 2 sleeves and then 1 back. Now, I already told Dan that this is going to be costume quality, like not production quality. So I have like some knots and things that I don't know. Dan, I hope you're alright with it. It's fine from the front, it's just on the back it's a little messy. But, so I have 3 pieces, so I just need to figure out the design tonight and create a front panel tomorrow and then sew it all together. Yep. It's Sunday, next day. Look, I designed a sweater design last night. So I finished sleeves and back yesterday. Today I'm gonna print that design on the knit fabric to be the front fabric of the sweater, and hopefully I can get to linking, basically seaming them together part, so that all I have to do is blocking and I can give it to Dan on Tuesday, hopefully. Let's get to it. So I just finished first print done, and this looks pretty dang good. I'm pretty happy that the emulator or the visualizer that I built is actually working. This looks like exactly the one I looked at on screen, so I'm happy with that. So when I'm making swatch or the test print, what I'm looking for is a gauge, because the one color knitting and the two color knitting has like slightly different tension. So I knitted the width of a sweater to compare against a back fabric that I knitted yesterday. This is going to be the main color. This is just a test color. And it's actually slightly tighter, so I'm gonna try different tension again. But another thing I'm looking for is if the structure is good. So knitting has this certain tendency to deteriorate, well, what do you call it? Like, I don't know, get the like holes if you have too many solid colors together. I think this one is acceptable. I think this will block out and it'll be fine. But let's see, like, yeah, same thing. If you like dither them a little bit, there's no like the holes letting through. So I just was really nervous about this logo thing because I really want the logo text to be stand out. So I wanted to make it solid, but that has a tendency, and I think this is acceptable for, you know, especially after block out, it should be fine. And then the graphic side, the train logo, I was also worried about this line, but this seems to holding up okay. So that's good to know. All I need to test is another test print, and then to match the gauge of knit fabric for the back. And I will move on to actual front panel knitting. So before I moved on to another print, I just want to show you absolutely things you should not do that I just did. So my knitting machine talks to an emulator on my laptop over serial. So you need to make a special cable because the machine is from 80s. It's not USB, it's not universal yet, but it speaks serial. So I need to make that bit, and then I think I needed to do something with this chip. Look at it. Look at it. So what happened was I dropped a weight. So the thing about knitting machine or machine knitting is that you need to put a lot of weights on your fabric in order to weigh down. That's just mechanically how machine works. And I dropped the weights and bended a metal part of USB part. And I couldn't really fix it, so I cut it open. It works. It still transfers data, but probably after today, I need to replace this cable. It's been, I don't know, 2 hours or so. Finished the panel. Look, you can see the back side. These floats are way too long for regular garment, and there is a way to not make these floats, but it makes like fabric thicker, which means I need like thinner yarn. And yeah, this is a weekend project and it's a costume production, so sorry Dan, I hope you understand. So the back side is kind of cool. It's the inverse of the picture, and then if you go back to the front, there you see it. You see the fabric. I think it's gonna be good. So I am just seaming shoulders using linker or linking machine. This machine makes chained stitch to bind these stitches and then basically like sew them together. I bought this from, actually I bought it from a neighbor who had a knitting factory on the basement of an apartment, who he's getting older and then got like eyesight was bad, so he stopped doing his business, so he was selling all of the equipment, and that's where I got him. This is like industrial piece of equipment, it's not home use. But if you put right, so there is a pedal underneath that moves this thing. And once, oops, let me hold this. Once this thing goes through the fabric, now it is just sewing them together. Right, so I seamed all of the sides together and then put the neckband in. So now I need to sew these bands and cuffs, like folded cuffs. So there's still more things to do, but at least it's now in the shape of a sweater. Looking great. It's Monday evening and I just got home from work. About to sew all of the loose ends of a sweater. I just steam blocked the sweater before I go to office. Dan is actually coming to Google office for about a meeting, so I am going to drop this off to him before his meeting. But this is the final form, lightly steamed, so stitches are kind of like blended together more. A lot of points, not quite a lot of that. Still long floats and a lot of loose ends that I just didn't weave in perfectly, but that's okay, I think, for costume and for making it in basically 2.5 days. Hello! Hopefully this was something interesting to you. If you are a knitter and interested in coding side of knitting, I gave a talk on fabric production and coding and how it relates to it. So if you're interested, check that out. And if you're interested in actually getting started in coding, you should definitely check out Dan's channel, The Coding Train.